Well, Tasha and Russell, they both love reading books. Tasha and Russell, they both love reading books. Well, what do you do when you share such
Welcome
love?
to the
Well, you start a
113th
club, you
episode of
start
the
a club, an
ABC Pod,
adult
the
book
Adult Book
club, an
Club with
adult
Taja and
book
Russell. I am Russell.
club,
She is
and a
Taja.
Hi.
Hi, and welcome back,
podcast.
everybody, to the podcast where we drink and we read things. And on this episode, we read The Genesis of Misery by Neon Yang. But before we get to that, Taja, it has been a couple weeks. What has been going on in your neck of the woods?
Winter
Winter.
remains wintry. Which is good because it's been really cold. So if it's gonna be cold, I want there to be snow. We just had another storm this weekend. But it's like very pretty and very, I don't know, winter wonderland out there. We've been out snowshoeing with the dog a couple of times. Our ancient snowblower still functions, so that's great. It only took me like 15 minutes to snowblow the driveway.
That's impressive.
It's not a very big driveway, so we have that
But,
going for us.
but still, I mean,
Yeah, it slings it, man. It's good. Also,
back when they knew how to make stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it is a little bit broken and it leaks gas, but it's fine. Also, because of the snow and how much there is, we have to like snow blow or shovel paths for the dog like in the yard so she can
Mm,
like poop. Um, and it had snowed over some of that and I
mm.
forgot and I snow blowed it and it like flung shit everywhere. So that
Gross.
was fun. Um, yeah, I'm still deep in the Turkish dizzies. Um, I'm almost done with a different one of the ones that I've been watching. I'm probably gonna move on to another. We'll see. I have one in mind. And then I got a couple new tattoos. And
Nice.
then yeah, that's what I've been doing.
That's it. Just that. Just
I think.
adding more ink to my body for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. No big
Yep, I
deal.
have 13 now, so
Jesus.
it's
Okay.
my lucky number. I want more, but I kind of like to keep it at that number, so we'll see what happens.
I give it 2 months and then you'll
Yeah.
get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already have a plan of what I want to do, so
Nice. For me, not much going on the last 2 weeks. I did Sully played a solo show up in Portsmouth, so I went up there to support him and try to sell merch. We sold one shirt, we gave away a shirt, and we gave away a bunch of stickers. So selling part wasn't great, but that's okay. We made people happy, I think. And while we were there, we actually set up another show. So if you're in the Portsmouth area on March 31st, we are playing at Loaded Questions, which is a brewery. It is a Thursday or Tuesday. I don't know. It's a day of the week, but I guess they have a run club. So that's a place that Sully's wanted to get into for a while. So the band will play again. And it actually works out well because we are getting together for Sully's birthday the week before. And we
nice.
rented out like there's a it's not recording, but there's like
Like
a
a
communal
studio?
well it's like yeah it's like a studio space but it's like
Like a co-working space for artsy people?
kind of there's not like recording equipment there but they have like four different rooms I mean it's a business but like you become a member of the
Co-op?
place and then
Yeah.
you can like save money by renting the rooms for whatever
Okay.
you want to do
Yeah.
so it's right down the road from Soonish's house so we're going to check that out and it'll be interesting to have like a space to play and that will give us a
Hmm.
chance to knock off the rust before we get going. Uh,
Nice.
and aside from that, not really much. Trying to survive winter. We got more snow yesterday. We're getting more snow today. So it's at that point where there's nowhere
Never
left to put
ending.
it. I need somebody with a tractor to come move my snowbanks so I can
Yeah.
refill the snowbanks.
Yeah.
So we're getting there though. Another month and this won't be a problem. We just got to hold on till the end here.
Maybe. How's your pellet stock doing?
Good. I just checked it again. We have like 50 bags left. So
Okay, nice.
yeah. I mean, but
Yep.
sometimes like it runs all the way through April because it all depends on the weather. Like if we have
Yeah.
a
If
couple
it
rainy
stays
days
cold
in a
enough.
row, the house does not get very warm. So
No. No, we had gotten like two big pallets and they were stacked like so high and we already depleted one and we started on the second. And at first I was like, oh, it's so good. It's so tall. We're gonna make it through the winter. And it's been so cold. We've been like running it. We've had to like turn it off, make points to turn it off just to clean it.
yeah, yep.
Yeah. But I was like looking at it the other day and I was like, oh, this is getting shorter really fast.
Yeah, and you got to make that decision, or yeah, you got to make that choice sooner than later because if you do wait till, you're like, I need 10 bags, there's
We've
nowhere
we've
left.
done that for like a couple years in a row where we've
Yeah.
been like, oh, we're gonna be fine. And then there's like a cold snap and we're like running around trying to hunt down the like remaining all that's left are ones with like holes in them and
Yeah.
like
We used to do 3 tons and like I would alternate. One year we do four, the next year we do three because we always have a little left
yeah,
over with the 4 ton.
nice.
And Amanda's like, every year we got three. I would be trying to find bags at the end. And she's
Yeah.
like, why do we do this? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's your only source. Like at least we have a
It's true.
backup,
Yeah.
which does help. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
home
we're
ownership.
getting there. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. We've also been working on booking our trip to Rwanda.
Oh
So we're
yeah.
going back the end of April, during April vacation for
Nice.
Amanda. And actually, so obviously Sully's going, but we've got a guy that we went with the first time named
Mhm.
Seth. He's coming back. So that's
Nice.
exciting. He's bringing his son with him this time. So
Nice.
that'll
How
be
old?
the son is, I think, somewhere in the 18 to 20s,
Nice.
somewhere in there.
Cool.
And then another guy they work with who is good friends with Seth is coming
Is
as well.
Seth a fireman?
Yes. Yeah. So him and this other guy's name is actually Russell too. So we got to call him by his last
Ooh,
name because
yeah.
you don't meet many of us in the wild. And but he wanted to do something special and memorable with the kids for his first time going there. And
Mm.
they tried to do this last year and his plans ended up falling through. So he has booked tickets for all the kids to go to Akigera, which is the safari in
Oh,
Rwanda, which is like 2 to 3 hours outside of the city. So we're
yeah.
gonna bus them there super
Yeah.
early in the morning, and then we'll split
Oh,
into groups. I think it's like
that's
six
so
or seven people
cool.
per like car or whatever.
Yep.
And then yeah, we'll do a full day of safari and then
That's so
hours back.
neat.
So
Really
that'll be
cool.
exciting. And Amanda's wanted to go to Akigura since we've been going. So
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
two birds, one stone with that. So
Yes.
yeah, so it's working that stuff out. I still haven't bought our tickets, but like we got our Airbnb. We're halfway there. But yeah, so yeah, other than that, nothing really. And you would know that by looking at our Instagram and Twitter because there's no updates. So
None.
just go ahead and give us a pity follow over there and on YouTube as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe our videos.
Hi, I'm waving to Angie's cat.
Hello, friends.
Hello, bears.
We are at Adult Book Club 21. That is all one word, Adult Book Club, and then the number 21. You can find us on those socials and yeah, follow us and not be bothered. So,
Yep.
on that note, we move back to the book, which is once again The Genesis of Misery by Neon Yang. And I will say, getting into this right off the bat, pronouns representation is a very big deal in this book. So if we make mistakes,
It's
like,
not
there's
intentional.
nothing behind it. Yeah, it's just uh, there's a lot of pronouns that I don't usually use that came up in this story. So we're going to do our best with them. So, The Genesis of Misery was the debut novel for Yang, but they had plenty of experience writing before it was published. They have 34 short stories and novelettes, which I didn't even know was a word, but
I
okay.
didn't either.
Again, this is all based on Wikipedia.
Tiny novels.
Beginning in 2012 was their first short story. It was titled Interview. Also, they previously released a 4-volume set of novellas titled the Tensorate series, as well as a standalone novella titled Between the Firmaments. The Genesis of Misery is book one of the Null Void Chronicles trilogy and was originally released in 2022, but there is no current release date or title for any other books in the trilogy. So, not sure if we're
How
actually
that's
getting
gonna
more of
work
it
out.
or not. But on that note, Taja, if you want to read us the jacket, we'll jump into our story.
All right. It's an old familiar story. A young person hears the voice of an angel saying they have been chosen as a warrior to lead their people to victory in a holy war. But Misery no Maki, she, they, knows they are a fraud. Raised on a remote moon colony, they don't believe in any kind of god. Their angel is a delusion brought on by hereditary space exposure. Yet their survival banks on mastering the holy mech they are supposedly destined for and convincing the emperor of the faithful that they are the real deal. The deeper they get into their charade, however, the more they start to doubt their convictions. What if this, all of it, is real? A reimagining of Joan of Arc's story given a space opera, giant robot twist. The Null Void Chronicles is a story about the nature of truth, the power of belief, and the interplay of both in the stories we tell ourselves.
Nice. Is that
If I'd
Sherrod?
read, I feel like it would have helped me to have read that.
Oh, I get so much more of it now.
Right?
I will say when I picked it up, I had only read like that first blurb,
Yeah.
the old familiar story. I was like, oh, space opera. Probably should have read the rest of it as well. Did
I
not
mean,
feel like as space opera-y as I wanted. Spoilers before spoilers.
no,
Yeah.
no. Then like also strap in everyone because like this is
Yeah.
not a good one.
We had 20 minutes talking about it before, and it was like,
Before we
this just, it's one of those things where just you say one
get
thing
the
and the other
vibe.
person picks up on it, and it just keeps
Yep.
going. It's like, maybe we should hold on and actually start recording. So, I also worry how many spoilers will be outside of spoilers because sometimes I just can't hold back on this story.
Fair.
But let's see where it goes, folks. So, our main character, as noted, is Misery Nomaki. What did you think of them as we got into the story?
So in the beginning, they reminded me of Gideon from Gideon the Ninth. Um, and that was kind of, I guess, cool because that character was fun in that book series, whatever. Um, but the similarities did not stick.
Mm,
And I don't know, I guess she was kind of annoying. They were annoying.
yeah.
Um, I feel like initially they felt like a rebel, and I'm kind of down with that. But then there was this what felt like misplaced conviction for something else, and I didn't really understand how we got there. So I didn't really ever feel invested in
Yeah,
that.
it was or they were a like diminishing gains
Yeah,
of an investment because when we first meet them, I think rebel is the perfect word for it. Like we meet them trying to escape from a
capture.
room that's
Yeah,
basically a cell
right.
because of this whole mix up or whatever, them maybe being a messiah, like the
Right.
lust messiah, whatever. Okay, like a neat little action sequence of them running through this city that they know nothing about, but using kind of their street smarts
Hmm.
and everything else that they've learned growing up on this like shitty moon colony.
Backwater. Yeah.
Yeah, on the edge of civilization, basically. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, I can get behind this. And then it all just goes to shit. Like, at first, it's like slowly, but then
Hmm.
it's exponentially as the story goes on, where I just felt myself turning against this character, especially as they leaned more and more into this belief that like the fact that to start the book they're playing up that they're the messiah. They're like, oh, I'm the biggest fraud and I'm going to trick all these other people because this was my only way off that rock, and now that I'm free I'm going to like find freedom again. Well, free but captured, you know what I mean. And then it was somewhere along the way it was like, wait, but what if I am the messiah? And I definitely am. And then vomit, just vomit for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I have nothing more to add.
You look so confident that you're going to. But yeah, I could get behind them when they were looking for self-preservation, when they were the underdog, misfit, all those kind of things that you look for in a character. The problem is just how quickly they shed that.
Hmm.
And it just like the amount of self-righteousness that they develop was tough to read. And again, like comparing it to Joan of Arc and what you hear of that story, and
Hmm.
obviously she is depicted different ways depending on who's telling it. But
Sure.
they also kind of seemed like they got super self-righteous and I don't know, out over their skis or whatever. So maybe that was part of it, but that doesn't mean it was enjoyable to read.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the knowing now that it was a Joan of Arc sort of retelling, I want to think that that would have helped because then I would have been like, oh, there's something behind this. It isn't just some completely made up space opera. It's a
Yeah.
retelling.
Yeah.
That said, I don't have a good um context for that. Like I don't have a good set of base knowledge
Yeah.
about Joan of Arc.
I know. I feel
So
like everyone just knows that she was like a teenager that tried to lead a rebellion, was captured and burned at the stake.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Um,
And that she heard like voices or something and thought like an angel.
right, that there was some like religiosity
Yeah.
situation. Um,
Um, I-
I think that it was unfortunate that the Gideon correlation didn't stick because that would have kept things, I think, at least a little thread of I could maybe stomach this character throughout.
yeah.
But
Keep
even
keep the
that was like,
snarkiness. Keep the snarkiness. Keep the like talking shit about
yeah,
everybody.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something instead of
right,
just being like, no, this is me now. Like
right.
I am the religion. I am everything. I am
It's
all
just
powerful.
all a whole bunch of eye rolls
Yes.
after that. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
They came quick. So let's move into our setting and talk about the world building that Yang accomplished here. Did you feel immersed or confused?
Fully confused.
Yeah.
So especially because I knew that Martha Wells, who wrote the Murderbot Diaries series, um, had like made a comment about this book, whatever. What do you call it? When it's like an author's,
Is it like a jacket note or something? I don't
yeah,
know
I
what
don't
they
know what
call it.
you know what I'm saying, but
Praise? It's usually like
sure,
praise, right?
sure. Um, because I knew that connection, I was constantly comparing it to the Murderbot world. And it fell short at pretty much every turn.
Yeah.
Um, I said this before we started recording, I think. Martha Wells does a really good job with representation as well. So I can see why the authors would kind of be in each other's orbits.
Mm.
Um, but from a like world building, having the reader understand what's happening, Neon Yang didn't deliver on that for me. I like was just confused about so many things and it just felt like they put a bunch of what could be cool ideas into a blender and
Mm.
like that's just what came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we touch on this all the time about how you deliver your backstory or your world building or the
Like the
rules.
political whatever.
Yeah, the rules of what's going on.
Yeah,
And there's many different ways of doing it. Of course, you don't want it to be a textbook at the beginning of the book
right.
because you'll just lose your audience. But I felt like there was not much,
None.
if anything. And jumping right into it, like part of part of what I struggled with was we start with the whatever prelude or whatever they called it,
Oh,
where it was like
yeah.
two people walking on this desert planet and oh, tell me a story. And like one of them is like a mythical creature thing and whatever.
Changing their image, whatever.
Yeah. And I immediately was like, oh, this is okay. I'm gonna try to hold on here. And then we
Uh-huh.
jump right into it where I think even the character speaking is like, oh, let's get into like the interesting parts or something like that. And that's Misery breaking out of their cell and whatever, doing their thing. And to do that, so part of the world building here is these everything is based on like magic stones. So like
And
different.
even that, like, we're making suppositions here because none of that was ever explained.
Well, I Googled.
Oh, you
So
did. Okay, never mind.
when
Russell knows what he's talking
when
about.
I was looking for a get to know your podcaster question, I was like, oh, maybe we can talk about like the different types of stones. Because like I knew like the tiger's eye was used for like anti-gravity, and they said like it was like
Obsidian was
onyx
something
or jade or
else.
something was for
Yeah.
construction, and I think ruby was like for death weapons or something. I don't remember them all.
Eye roll.
But even there, they was like, oh, and also like there's certain ones that like power the ships and make them move, and like this does that. I'm like, oh, sure, that makes sense. But like none of that was really described in a way that I don't know. It just felt like we were supposed to know that, and we were supposed to know what the different things did. and right off the bat, I felt like I was behind,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't help. And then we jump into the capital, which Misery doesn't really understand because they've never been here. It's like going from living in a what, like 100-person town
To
to
like New
moving to
York
Los
City.
Angeles and
Yeah.
being like, okay, this is life now. And so they're trying to make their escape and using different powers that they've developed. But also, that's when we start talking about the Saints, which are another part of this world that
Never
I
get
can't
explained.
explain to you because it wasn't really explained to me. Like, other than the fact that these are like
It
touched by the demiurge, which is their god,
God.
whatever.
So I got the impression, and perhaps this is completely off base, that the Saints were basically like people who were born with the magical powers enough to like mess with the stones. But perhaps that's not right.
Yeah, supposedly that the saints, the only way you could manipulate the stones was if you were a saint, which again, don't know how you get there, or if you have the void madness,
Right.
which is what Misery's mother had,
And died of.
because it's like found where they think they don't really even know what causes it, but they think it's from traveling in like unprotected places of the universe or some shit, or
Right.
like the outer reaches or something like that. And their mother was a miner for special stone, so that was how she picked it up. And then Misery believes that they inherited it from their mother. Although there's no, I don't know if there's research for that or not. But anyway, the problem I then had with the Saints, again, reading this for the podcast and really trying to keep track of it, I can't describe to you how the Saints happen. And then
No.
as soon as we meet one, we meet like seven other, not seven, but like three other different types where Misery's running through the Capitol and they're like, oh, that looks like I've seen
Well, it's
like
like a
three Saints that
cloned
look the same, and
one.
they're like cloning and they can't clone, and that's like against the religion. So what are they doing there? And then they see another one and it's like that one looks like it's being like it has a saint for a nanny, and they're trying to like make the baby a
Sanctify
saint
a
by like
child.
raising it that way. And again, just no clue. You
No.
know, it's one of those things where I'm going through it with my game right now. We're trying to write out like a rule book, and there's so many things that I take for advantage or granted
Mm,
because I've played 100 times now,
right.
right? But we try to sit down and be like, okay, but do we just know that because we know that? And like, how do you make sure that's in the rules? And I feel like this book skipped that part where it's like, oh no, you know this world, you know about saints, you know about stone, whatever.
Whatever.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's so hard to something you do all the time to like explain how to do it to someone
Yeah,
else. I do that a lot at work where I have to like write out procedural things of something that I like do without thinking.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I
And
I feel like it's a cool concept, but you can't expect somebody to start reading your book and be immediately comfortable or immersed or feel like they've been enveloped if you don't
nice. Yeah.
share the sort of mission critical pieces.
Yeah. And that's tough to do. And we're not authors, as we pointed
Right,
out so much.
right.
So I don't have any constructive
Ins
criticism for you. But
right.
it just makes me wonder as you're reading this, like, was for the beta readers or whatever, were they reading this and then having
Is
Neon
there
Yang be like,
feedback?
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this is like what I meant here and this is what I meant
Right.
there. And like, okay, but you
But
need,
incorporate that into the story,
yeah,
then yeah. I do wonder that a lot because there were a couple of times where I was like, is there an editor? And obviously there was an editor, but I do wonder if there were people who read it that were maybe outside the author's sphere. Because, like, if it's something that these people talk about, like if your group of friends talks about this thing a whole bunch, them reading a book where, like, those concepts are relevant is going to be a no-brainer. But you've
yeah.
got some weird outsider, like a normal reader, coming in and not understanding.
Yeah, and I feel like once that ball starts rolling, it's just a snowball. It's picking up so much more as we go along. And like, again, just feeling behind the entire time. One, it makes me not enjoy reading as much. And then it makes it like it becomes a chore to get back into the book. And then you start making me hate the characters, all the characters.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
I don't even know why I'm here. Um, yeah,
It was tough to get through. I mean, I was like knee deep in Dizzy's, but usually like when I've been reading a book, I can like I'm desirous of setting aside time to do that. You know, I
yeah.
want to get back to the book. Even like the Sundown Motel that we read last time, like that was at least like a fast pace, like stuff was happening. I felt like I understood what was going on for the most part. Like,
Well, and what's wild too, if you just think about how this was written, like we start with Misery's Escape,
yeah,
right? Like that's supposed that should be like a
that's a
high
hook.
tempo,
Yeah.
exciting hook, yeah. And then they get captured again, spoilers before spoilers, and then they have that meeting with the Emperor, and that happens, and we kind of get the breadcrumbs of them maybe being the actual Messiah as we learn about kind of whatever the prophecies and shit that they may be fulfilling. And then we move forward from there. And so, like, if you think about it, it does seem to be like event, 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 but like it still doesn't grab you. It's very strange. Like there's a
That
lot there
is a
that
good
should
point.
be entertaining, and it just constantly fell short. And I think it's because you're or for me, I'll just say me, I'm behind
Yeah.
and I don't understand enough about what's going on. So like you play the gimmick of the two characters, tell me a story of this person and what happened to them. Okay, let's jump into the fun. I'm already like, meh. And then we jump in, and I'm like, oh no. And then it just yeah,
Well, and even if you're jumping from action to action, if there's no common thread of understanding,
yeah,
it becomes pointless. Like I was telling you before, I usually when I'm reading a podcast book or any book, I'll be like, Barry, this is what's going on in my book. Like, I want to share this. I couldn't. I
yeah.
didn't know how to summarize what was happening because I was so uninvested and it was so unclear and it felt like a blender. Like again, like
Yeah.
all these ideas just in a blender and I couldn't tell you. And now that I know it's Joan of Arc, I can be like, it's a retelling of Joan of Arc.
Yeah, a weird one,
A
but
weird
there you
one. In
go.
space.
In spies. So moving on, we have our, I don't know, one of our main conflicts, I guess, is the struggle between the religion, which is the faithful, anyway, and of the universe, and the emperor of the universe. I wanted to focus on a person from each group that plays a big role in Misery's life, and those two would be the Archbishop. Oh my gosh, the Archbishop Storm Imogen from the Faithful, and then the Emperor's sister Lee Elodia Lightning in
Um,
their respective groups. So, what did you think of those characters? What did you think of their groups? Wherever you want to go in our
so
struggle.
first I need to just say that the naming conventions in this book were next level crazy. Like, um, the Archbishop, their name is Pyrex Imogen. Like, that's part, I mean, there's probably three names, so I
Okay.
don't think you're wrong. But every time I heard it, I was like, I have Pyrex dishes in my cupboard.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only th I couldn't get that out of my head. Um, and then the Lady Leolodia Lightning,
Mm.
get out of here, lightly fried fish fillets. Like, stop. And it was every name every time,
Yeah.
all the names
It
every
was
time.
it was very my scaly green ass from
Yes,
Gronk.
yes.
Gronk. Gronk.
Oh, Gork.
Gork, thank you. I was like, no, that's the thing from that's the Twitter thing. No. Rock. Whatever. Anyway.
Well, equally bad, both of
Mm.
those things. Um, so those are my first two comments about that. The naming conventions were obnoxious, and
Yeah.
especially Lady Leolodia Lightning.
It was a
Um,
bit of a gift when we got to call her Lightning
a
later on
little
in
bit
the
of
story.
fun. A
Uh,
little bit of fun.
yeah, a little bit. But even
Um,
that was like pretentious and shitty.
yeah. But in terms of like the two sort of factions, I guess. And even then, it was strange. And another example of my not fully understanding the world building here, because it's the Archbishop. of the Lyrics Forge, Demiurge, whatever, like the representation of their belief in this higher power.
Yeah.
And then the Emperor of the Faithful. So like same team, but
They're
then also
supposed to be.
maybe not.
No, they are supposed to be. But
And this,
the issue is the emperor, like, well, one of the many issues, like the emperor is hiding himself because he's not a saint. After four generations of saints have led the civilization or whatever the fuck, the
right,
faithful.
the Faithful.
So he's seen as like lesser, so he's very much like a shadow emperor. And apparently him and his grandmother have their own ideas about what they should be doing, but it doesn't
That's
make
the other
sense.
thing. Like they have their own ideas about what they should be doing, and so they're trying to make peace with the actual opposite side, the heretics.
Yes.
Like all of the political religious interplay was annoying, and it's annoying that I think that because that's like the main point
Yeah.
is to have this interplay and for these characters to like be important. And I just really couldn't get beyond the ridiculous name situation. I didn't give a shit about any of them.
And that's totally fair. I think with the Archbishop, it's so strange because they like buy completely into uh Misery being the ninth Messiah or whatever the fuck they called them. But at the same time, they hedge their bet at every chance they have, where it's like when she goes ahead of the emperor, like it's all through the church that happens and through the archbishop, but they make sure that they're completely removed, so it can't easily be
Look
traced back to them.
negatively. Yeah.
And same thing later on when one of our big events happens, they're like pushing all the buttons and really focusing Misery and others on their target. And then it's, oh no, but I gotta leave today, so I won't be around when this actually happens.
How organized religion of them.
No, yeah, yeah, always CYA. So uh, that was just frustrating. I thought the religion in itself, I didn't really, just another thing I didn't understand. So, like,
Yeah, fully.
people left Earth and traveled the stars for a long time, generations. And then apparently, like, one of the ships was like lost a bunch of stuff or got hit or something. I don't fucking know. And so these people went to try to find like a rock they could survive
Land
on.
on.
They found this like fucking hole in a rock that stone started talking to them or some shit.
Yeah,
And
like I couldn't even tell you.
and there was eight of them, and six of them believed one thing, and like I guess some of the teachings maybe were I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter. But then there's two that were didn't go along with everybody else, so they became the heretics and ran their own like religious group, and now they've been fighting again for generations. And it's just like I don't know. If
It's
that
so
makes sense to you,
typical.
that's what I got.
I mean, that was a really good summarization of something that I also didn't understand. So good job. It's such a human thing to fuck shit up like that.
Yeah,
Um, but I also just like you said, don't care. Don't
yeah,
care.
yeah. I think that's
I
gonna
had no,
be
there was zero buy-in.
that's going to be a reoccurring theme.
Yeah.
As far as lightning is concerned,
Yeah, I think you mean the Lady Leolodia Lightning.
I refuse. I'm sorry. As far as lightning is concerned, she said I could call her that. It's like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. She gave you the permit.
she gave me the winky emoji on a
Oh,
text, so we're in. We're in like
okay.
I can do weird stuff that we'll get
Next
into in
to the eggplant
spoilers.
emoji, probably.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
obviously.
uh, kind of very similar to Misery. When we first meet the Lady Lightning, she attacks Misery and is like really close to killing them, and is just like this badass fucking like warrior princess, quite literally. And I was like, I'm in, cool.
And
And
then,
yes, they go along with the plan. They end up following Misery, and spoilers before spoilers, we'll talk about their relationship in spoilers, but complete 180 on everything
and
because
for
they
like,
just
and not like a a convincing come to Jesus moment either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for both of them, for both Misery and Lightning, I didn't have like a okay.
That's maybe we'll get into it in spoilers. Their come to Jesus moment. We can maybe remember to circle back to, or maybe we
Mhm.
won't. But I was frustrated that it was, in case we don't get to it, I was frustrated that it was incredibly similar. And when they come out of this moment, they're just like, no, this is me. And like, just all the Kool-Aid and everything. So again, like, not an author, not to be harsh here, but finding out that this was their first novel and they wrote a bunch of novellas before this has that feeling where like you stretch it out and you lose the plot. And again, maybe that's what Joan of Arc did too. I don't fucking know. But it just felt crazy to me that I don't know who would read this and would continue to root for these characters through their change. And I understand that
Yeah.
characters have to change. And I understand there's people that do this in our world. There's plenty of examples of people drinking the Kool-Aid and going fucking 180 on their
Yep.
beliefs or
Yep.
becoming very self-righteous or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
So yeah,
Or
it's
saying they're a
there.
never Trumper and then being a yep.
Yeah, being a red hat.
Yep.
I don't need to read that though. Like that
No, that
it
happens
had
enough in
no
real
appeal.
life.
Was that?
That happens enough in real life.
Totally fair. So yeah, I don't know. We can get more into it in spoilers, but before we get
Oh,
there,
um, I wanted to add, okay, so I think that maybe I did miss it, and I wrote that I maybe missed it because I think your explanation made sense. That I wrote that I didn't like that there wasn't a super clear explanation for like the split between the heretics and the faithful, and I guess there was. It just like
it was
wasn't it was like a one-liner effectively to the point where I that didn't land for me.
so yeah, supposedly they all heard the voice. That's what it was. In the cave, they all hear the voice of the Lyric's Forge,
Okay.
whatever, the demiurge, whatever that what they
Yeah.
call their god.
Yeah.
And the I think six of them agreed on the teachings and two of them didn't or something. Like
Okay.
I don't we see the corruption through Misery's eyes as she experienced the Capitol, and like the most faithful are supposed to be at the Capitol, and they're doing stuff that is against like their uh, founding principles. Shocker, religions don't
Right.
do that. Uh, so maybe that's where the split was, where like the founding
Okay.
principles the heretics had an issue with. I
Yeah.
mean, the only thing we really know about the heretics is supposedly they're all touched with void madness because they like experiment more with
It's
the
like the
stones
technology
and
that, yeah,
technologies. Yeah, so like they're way more advanced people, but also still for some reason like a cat with a ball, they keep like batting at the faithful but not really doing anything in this like quote unquote war
war.
during peace times or whatever.
Yeah. I yes, all of that was super confusing. I also feel like perhaps I dreamt this, but was there like some portion of this story, maybe the origin story style of like the faithful versus the heretics, but was AI involved? Wasn't there some like
Yeah,
warning, don't like this is why you don't use AI? Like,
yeah, so it was complete. That was like with the you can't clone saints, and they were
right.
completely against AI, like creating saints, which I think was the issue with
Ghost?
Ghost. Thank you. Yeah, I was like Spider, no. Who we met later. I think that was part of their issue because I think they were like a clone or something, like they like weren't a proper
A
saint.
saint. But what even is that? Because we don't know.
Sure.
But it just feels like another thing that was in the blender
Yeah.
and not properly explained. Because like the heretics seemed like they were more like let's explain things with technology and understanding
Mm.
versus let's explain these same things with like just blind faith in this lyrics forge.
And then seeing that again, the people behind the faith were just using it for their own benefit anyway, breaking
As
the rules they
per
wanted.
usual.
Yes. If this is your first experience on this podcast, welcome to our opinions.
I mean, that's why you're here, right?
Yeah. But one other thing I wanted to point out when we were talking about, I don't know, did I bring this up later?
Uh-huh.
Uh, ba, 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 ba. Okay. I don't think so. The one thing I wanted to bring up here, just kind of as like the opening salvo of how this was written and everything like that, it was weird that we decided to be like 50 generations in the future in space, populating galaxies. And the big change in our language was instead of her, we had here, HIR, and instead of she, we had ZIE. Um, why? Like that was our big change. And every time I read that, because it wasn't like it was used as a proper noun for the larynx forge, okay? But like it was also just used where it'd be like, oh, and then Z comes in from this off screen, or and then it's here or whatever. Every time I had to stop it. I had to like program my brain because it took me a while to figure out what the fuck we were saying anyway, because you're just
Hmm.
putting fucking made up words in there. Unless these are new words that I don't know about. Maybe they are. I probably should have fucking Googled it. I don't know. But it just felt like every time I read that, it pulled me out of the story a little bit more. It just frustrated me a little bit more.
I agree. It was very frustrating. It felt like we're taking representation or inclusivity to like another level beyond the norm. And I would say it pulled me out, but it also just felt like so overused to the point of like, if I go and pick up some other random book, will he, she be used so intensely, or am I just like hyper noticing it,
Yeah.
hyper aware of this? But um, it did kind of, I don't want to say ruin it, but it didn't help.
Yeah. No, and this is with any kind of story, like especially when dealing with future languages. And they made a point to be like the ship they were on for all those generations became like a melting pot of language, and this is what came out. And it's like, okay, fine. But you can't just have like those two changes and then have everything else be the same.
Nothing
Obviously, you're not going to
else.
like change, you can only go so far. But at the same time, I can't remember it. I should have marked it, but there was something that was like very specific, like 2022 vernacular
Mhm.
that I think Misery said at one point that I was like, how does
Did that stick with
language
me?
meld over 50 generations, but you talk like a fucking whatever? Are they Gen Z, X, Y, M, Z, M, millennials? I don't know who they are.
I
The
don't know,
newest
dude. I
ones, you're talking like them.
think we're back to A.
Oh, cool. Gen Alpha. It was
Um,
like it was just a very much something I could see a TikToker saying. And I was like,
yeah.
what the where? Why? And maybe
So
at that point I was nitpicking and looking for things to be angry about, but that's part of it.
that's where you're at. I feel like if we're gonna amalgamate languages, like on a generation chip, it makes sense. You've got a melting pot, like you said, and that things would kind of coalesce into something new makes sense. But do it like Firefly, where people interject like Chinese words into things because
Yeah.
that's like the most popular, the language of the highest population, whatever. Like that from a future perspective makes far more sense to me.
And it's the development of slang and all that other stuff. I
Sure.
mean, we've already seen it.
Colloquial
I
things.
I
Yeah.
already don't understand this generation's slang. Maybe it was cap. Did they say cap in this?
We're
I don't,
old.
we are old, but there was something like that. But and like that's understandable. Slang would come from it. But it was again
Yeah.
just like every time I saw it, I would just and it was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a
Like
lot.
it felt like more than a normal would be necessary
Yeah. Well, I
for
feel like because normally you can breeze over it. Like
yeah, I
there's
guess
words
that's
you
true.
skip.
I like stopped paying
Yeah,
attention.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing as you like ruined when there's a break in the middle of dialogue. Now
Sorry.
you always have to read it. Like, did she mutter it? I need to know. Taja broke my brain. I used to just skip this part. So I can see us kind of like as you're reading, you just kind of blow by it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. And when this is there, again, I didn't fucking know what it was for a while, and I was just like, okay. I honestly swear to God, the first time I saw here, HIR, I
I thought it was
thought
a
it was a
misprint.
misprint. I did. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit, that's bad
No,
editing.
I started listening to it and they were saying it and I was like, what? Am I hearing this right?
Yeah.
And then I was complaining about it to Barry because I was like, oh, it's a language thing. They've chosen to do this. And he was like, no, Z is a thing that is used in like reality. And I did not know that. And now I feel really old
Yeah.
and out of touch, but also I just don't I feel like a get off my lawn. I don't understand.
Yes, that is. I shouldn't have done that. I tried to Google something in the middle of the video and it froze.
No.
That's
So
not what I'm looking for.
yeah, like I wrote down that
Okay, yeah, it is. It's another pronoun. I didn't even
it's
no,
a I
that's something else. I don't know. I
yeah, ZIE, right? That's how it's spelled.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's another, I guess, pronoun they use to replace he, she, they. I didn't realize that. Uh,
No, I didn't either. And then I felt really silly and out of touch, but also I felt like you can respect and include the gamut of pronouns, but this was incredibly down your throat. And I also found it odd that like in it was so like the lozenges of information that people
yeah,
had
yeah,
still don't understand what that means because to me a lozenge is a fucking cough drop.
yeah,
Um so like everyone's got heads up displays like just in their face all the
yeah,
time and they can just like see graphics. It's like freaking Jumanji.
yeah. Hey,
Um
never.
and to have everybody's pronouns listed like I get it, that's the space we're in now, but it felt like it happened in unimportant times.
Yeah, I would like to just retroactively state, based on that rant I just gave, I didn't realize that's what we were talking about, that Z, Z-I-E, and H-I-R are pronouns now. I
I didn't
thought,
realize that HIR
well,
was,
I
but
don't know if it is, and I
okay.
didn't want
The
to, but if
ZIE is.
but if it is, I didn't realize that. I thought that they were just
It
replacing
was a
her
naming, it
with
was a
here.
thing. Yes.
Yeah, I
Like
thought it
it
was just a thing that they did. So if I'm wrong on that, I apologize retroactively for that rant. But if it isn't, that's what frustrates me in writing. And I went on too long to go back. So here we are, folks. We are old now.
we can learn.
What's
Even though
that?
we're old, we can learn.
Yes. Yeah. And again, not trying to be a critical space as far as any of that is concerned. I think
No,
we've made
no,
it
there's
kind of
like
clear.
no judgment on people's choices. We're
Yeah.
not calling that out.
Yeah.
But I am calling maybe the author out.
Calling the writing out, maybe.
Yes.
So let's get out of this hole I just dug myself
Yeah, okay,
into.
good luck.
Move on with our get to know your podcaster question. This is just, yeah, I didn't know where to go here. So it's, yeah. Anyway, manipulating Holy Stone, as Misery does, is an ability that can only be done by saints or someone suffering from void madness, supposedly. If you knew you had 100 years to live and you could gain this ability by sacrificing 10 years of that time while having void madness, would you do it?
I guess. I mean, I wrote down fully what the fuck. Like I guess the power seemed cool. So 10 years seems like maybe valid. Um, I'm not convinced that Void Madness does only terrible things.
Mm.
Like she witnessed her mom die from supposedly that, but also I don't know that I trust her and what she saw. I also don't understand what it means to be a saint and have that power and how
Yeah.
you get there and like are you what does 10 years sacrifice mean? 10 years like in school learning? 10 years like you just wake like frickin' Princess Bride where you just like get strapped to a table, 10 years gone? I don't know. Um so those would be clarifying questions I would need before I signed on the dotted line.
Yeah.
But also the long and short of it, what the fuck?
I it basically just my thought is if I was stuck somewhere like Misery was, why not? Because what's losing 10 years of that
Sure.
existence?
Sure.
But maybe if I lived on the capital and was like one of those fat, wealthy, rich people, maybe not, because I don't need that, obviously. I've got other things going on in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This was where I was gonna try to be like, oh, what holy stone would you like to use in real life? And
But
here's
then there was not
examples.
enough information for you to pull from.
Yes, but I couldn't do that. Oh, would you like to be a saint? I don't know. What does that mean? Well, you can
Maybe.
fly seraphs, so that's
Okay,
cool,
so
I
like
guess.
that did sound cool to be able to operate a mech, like Pacific Rim.
But the idea of that, like the rock overtaking you, just like
Okay, that's weird.
consuming you,
Yeah.
I would not do well.
Also, fully not how rock works. Also like rocks in space, I get it. Rocks in space is a thing, but like carved rock that's like I just I don't know if it's my limited ability to visualize or whatnot, but like these were transformers made of stone that had swords and shit and multiple limbs. And I just go back to the fever dream thing in the blender. The
Yeah.
fever dream in the blender.
Yeah, it was literally like, what if we did a Pacific Rim type thing? Like, how are you gonna make that work? Like with rocks.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let's do it.
So yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I guess.
Did that I feel like you got to know us more by just how unknowledgeable we are about pronouns at this point in our life than that question. So
Yeah. Get to know your podcasters and stay off their lawns.
yeah. So on that note, we are going to move into spoilers. Before we do that, we have your song. This is the part that we're going into spoilers. If you don't know the book, get out or stay if you like those episodes where we just get really dirty and mean. Because this is the part that we're going into spoilers, and I can see where this conversation is going and what this will be all about in spoilers. Let's catch you up. When they are presented to the Emperor, Misery feels the presence of their god, the Larix Forge, and how disappointed it is with the people set to lead. They lash out and turn the stadium into a massacre, killing hundreds, maybe thousands, I don't know, of the elite and rich in the capital. Because of this, they are sent to a prison military base called Angel's Teeth, along with their co-conspirators, the Emperor's sister, Lightning, and the Duke of Apis. When they arrive at the base, it falls under attack. Whoa, it falls under attack by the heretics, the faithless human group and enemy of the faithful that Misery belongs to. Using their rock sense power, they turn the stone of Angel's Teeth into a deadly weapon and obliterate a heretic destroyer ship. It is the first time in many years that the faithful have destroyed a heretic ship and repelled an attack. Because of this, the general of the base believes that Misery is the Messiah brought to them to end the war and begins training them rather than imprisoning them. Training to become a Seraph pilot comes naturally to Misery, but Lightning and the rest of her team struggle in the Sims. When it comes time to join with the real 8-limbed giant stone mechs, things don't go as planned. Misery becomes trapped in their Seraph and loses consciousness. When they awake, they learn they died in the Seraph and had to be brought back to life. Lightning had not left their side while they were in sickbay and has done a 180 with her emotions towards Misery. Well, before she was cold. Where before she was cold and angry, now she wants to get closer to them and desires Misery. All kinds of sexy like.
Huh?
Lightning shows Misery the Seraph that they were trapped in, and it has been transformed from white stone to incredibly rare blue transport stone, something that has never been seen. The Seraph and the illusion that haunts Misery, named Ruin, are both calling for them to get back in the pilot seat. They go along with Lightning and are brought to an asteroid far away where they find an Archangel mech, a seraph that has never been seen and only spoken in Scripture. The stone Misery, the stone Misery wears as a pendant that their mother gave them turns out to be the key to turning the seraph on. With it, they return to Angel's Teeth, anxious to test it out. Side note, during this trip, Lightning dies, and Misery begs Ruin to bring her back to life. When she does, Lightning is 100% more horny and 100% a better Seraph pilot.
Amazing.
Misery and Lightning are called to duty to protect Angel Teeth from a heretic attack. While Misery single-handedly dissolves a destroyer, Lightning kills 3 heretic seraphs that have plagued the base for years. A party happens to celebrate the victory, and there is a ton of sex. Because of these new weapons, the general decides that they should go on the offensive and attack the heretics. They choose Monkglass Station, which has been under siege for months. To help prepare, they decide to interrogate the heretic prisoner at the station, which shocks Misery as they learn it is the man they have met and fucked a bunch in their dreams. His name is Jericho. They're embarrassed and worried what he will tell the others about them, and so the interrogation is incredibly vicious, and they leave him close to death. With the new information, Misery and Lightning head to the station to stop the siege, but are shocked to find how peaceful things are at Monkglass. They learn that this siege is for show between the Emperor and the heretics as they continue to work towards an end to the war. Misery learns the commander in charge of the heretics is Essie Temple, who is a war criminal and they believe must be killed. They decide to fight the heretics anyway and are shocked when the only ships that join the fight are their small crew of misfits. Essie Temple's ship is destroyed, but Misery is separated from the Archangel mech, and they are once again arrested with lightning. They are sent back to the capital, where after a few months it is believed they are given to the heretics as a sign of peace between the two civilizations. When they are put into their new cell on a heretic ship, it is Jericho who closes the door on them, supposedly.
Supposedly.
And then we have a uh, what is epilogue where we learn it was Ruin and Jericho talking about this story, even though they were both there, right? So anyway,
Yeah.
getting deeper into it. Misery's time at Angel's Teeth is spent learning to be a Seraph pilot, a Messiah, and a whole bunch of sex. What did you think of their growth and changes that happened once they arrived here?
I mean, just like the Kool-Aid was furiously drunk.
Hmm.
That she just got, or they got so brainwashed and blinded by their illusions of faith. Um, and I can kind of understand it every now and then with like their mother's amulet, um, kind of fitting all of the pieces of the puzzle into, I don't know, the one that suited her best or them best. Um, I don't know. I didn't understand the demiurge. I didn't understand why they were faithful. I didn't understand the seraphs and the mechs and why she hated the heretics so much. Like it felt very outsized hatred.
Because she
Like
had to, because they're
really
heretics and she's
aggressive.
faithful.
Okay. But like there's the moment when I think it's in the dream and Jericho is telling them that like the heretic ship she destroyed that had people on it and blah blah blah, and they're like, I'm not gonna rest until every single one is dead. And like I just don't,
Yeah. You would
it's not
honestly,
like their whole family was murdered by heretic. Like there isn't like a person, you know what I'm saying? There
yeah.
isn't a connection that made sense.
Yeah, and you would think they would actually side with the heretics because they have now seen what the faithful are doing in the capital and how much they're
And
being
it's
misled by them, how they're going against their own teachings and everything. And like, yeah, yeah, very frustrating. But this was kind of what we touched on before, where this is where we're exponentially dropping this character. Yeah, the fall is incredible, where every chance they get, they drink a little bit more Kool-Aid, they get a little bit crazier. They get so much more full of themselves. Where like before it was like a bravado and like I need to do this because nobody else is looking out for me.
right,
I'm gonna make the best of the time I have left because I think I have
right,
void madness. So
right.
okay,
It's a
whatever.
ticking clock. Yeah.
I can get behind that, I guess. But then it's like, oh, well, now I'm the Messiah. And like how they look down their nose at fucking everybody. And we're like, how dare this general question me? It's like, I fucking hate when people do that. And I know,
Well,
again, people do that where they think they know best. But it's like, did you just shut the fuck up? Because 4 days ago, you didn't believe that you were the Messiah. So
well,
why?
and they know how to use other people's faith to manipulate them,
Yeah.
which again, hey, organized religion, how you doing? Um, I think that um really kind of, I mean, that wasn't the moment that ruined the character for me, but it certainly didn't help.
Yeah.
Um, like you said before, they knew they were a fraud. They knew they were lying about all of these things. Even Lightning was like, I knew you were lying from the very first time you opened your mouth. And then she drinks the Kool-Aid too.
Yeah.
And like, just I guess it followed, not a trajectory. Like, the, we've talked about this a bunch when like characters get to a point where things happen and they're making decisions that I can recognize as something that character is going to do that in this
Yeah.
situation. It felt more like this situation ended up being something that worked for the character and not the other way around. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not describing this well.
Like where they found themselves is never where they would have been if they had like stayed true to themselves kind of
Yeah,
situation.
or like the change that happened in them. I guess maybe that's the point. The change that happened in them feels disingenuous
Yeah.
to the point of being like, I don't feel like the character that we met at the beginning wouldn't make these decisions. People are changing, sure, but like it didn't feel realistic because everybody felt like they were taking shots of Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And I think like this whole story is like 2 to 3 months maybe total.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
did
like
not feel long.
it's a rapid change
Yeah,
from where she was
yeah.
or where they were. And we see that all happening at Angel's Teeth. What we kind of touched on before with the come to Jesus moment, as we called it, with her and Lightning, both of them.
Finding the Meg.
Well, it was their death, right? For
Oh,
both
yeah.
of them, it was them dying and being reborn, being touched by the Lyric's
There's
forge or
Forge.
whatever, where maybe it was just modern medicine that brought it back. I don't know. But uh, that you did the same thing twice, and it's like getting the same result where the people just become fucking uh, unstandable. I can't stand that. Uh,
Yeah.
unbearable. That's the word. Good job, Russ. Talk good. Like that was just so frustrating to see. And again, both of them start off as very strong women in their own ways, and both of them, I don't know, become something a lot uglier.
So maybe they became less impressive because instead of standing on their own, they became willing tools for something else, and
Yeah,
their own whatever desires, personality, whatever, was secondary to the will of the forge.
yeah.
Um, and I find that obnoxious, especially as a woman.
Well, and the other thing that I found obnoxious
Mm.
was how much fucking we be doing. Because God, we had to do it a
A
lot.
lot. And then the threesome that was
That
like
was
out
I
of nowhere.
forget. We've talked about like that was the weirdest sex scene. This was like ages ago, episodes ago. I don't remember what it was.
Was it Marvelous Light?
Maybe, yeah. That definitely had oh, the ending one, right? Because it was just like, and then they
Yes.
fucked. It was like, why did we put that in the last page? Okay,
Yeah.
weird. Lot of stuff happening here. Um, but this was like uh,
They're having sex. Like three people having sex and having like a therapy session in the
yeah.
middle of it. Like, tell me about your dead friends, guy I'm on top of. What?
But also it felt like, well, Misery was having sex. Lightning was like controlling her shoulders for her or something. Like it was it felt
I
like a two and
glossed over a lot of the like specifics of that scene.
it felt like a 2.5 sum. Like I don't really know how
Yeah,
much
okay.
Lightning was
Sure.
actually involved in it.
Yeah,
But you're right, because yeah, Misery uses it because they think they need to get more information about the enemy, the heretics. So this will be a chance. And it's like one of their teammates, one of the
hmm.
other pilots,
The
which
serving, we haven't even talked about that.
yeah. Ugh.
We'll
More
go back.
servings,
We'll come
please.
back.
Anyway, the fact that you're just muddying that even more and then using him that one time, and it's like, okay, well, we broke him. Yay. All right, we'll see you at flight school tomorrow. Like, what the
Right?
fuck?
I just like I can't get over the like agree the three of them were basically in agreement that like this was a thing they all wanted to do. Like it'll take the edge off, whatever. Like cool, we're having fun. And then you're making him talk about like really intense stuff about losing all of his past teammates, whatever.
Yeah.
And like not cathartic. Just just not. And
Yeah, it was absolutely wild.
it was wild.
On top of that, too, they did the number one thing that I hate, and granted, it was in their dreams, but
Oh, like
literally,
the we just met, let's fuck.
let's fuck, quote end quote.
Literally,
That
yeah.
was what they kept saying to
Mhm.
Jericho, this man that they met in dreams that they thought was another delusion similar to
Delusion.
Ruin. But the fact that that's right where we went was absolutely fucking wild to me. And it wasn't like they weren't having the sex in
Real life.
outside of their dreams. So yeah, it was
Well, at that point, when they first started fucking Jericho, I don't think they'd gotten with Lightning yet, had they?
no, but there's desire there, and like
Yeah,
yeah,
sure,
so maybe
sure.
not quite, but it can
A lot of close talking
when
and
it continued after she was with Lightning, I was like, that seems weird and like totally in control of their dream. So it wasn't like, oh, this just happened. They would be like, let's fuck.
well, totally in control of their dream, but also like not because it wasn't really like a normal dream. Like
Yeah,
also annoying because they were like, I'm so used to these delusions, blah, blah, blah. But like, let's totally ignore all the signs about how this isn't a normal delusion.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the amount of banging was unnecessary and I didn't care because I didn't care about any of the characters.
And
Literally,
honestly, it was like the one with Spider was the most graphic if you want to call it
sure.
involved, I guess, is like it
Yeah.
wasn't like messy the way
No,
it
no,
was
it
written or anything
wasn't
like that.
detailed.
It was literally how many times it was the words let's fuck. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about. It's not like
Yeah.
we got graphic with everything
No.
going on. It was like every like it seemed to be something we'd love to end chapters with. And then we fucked. How do we end this chapter? Well, let's make them fuck. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh
And
and
I'm a
then
big
as
fan of
far
like,
as like sorry, go ahead.
no, it's fine. It's not important.
And then as far as like the Seraph training, just that they were a natural, like they broke records. They were so good at it. They were better than everybody, even though they weren't a saint and everything like that. It was
I
just
know, but they were like divinely inspired.
yes,
Everyone was meant to be there.
yes, they did say that quite a bit. Just think of all the things that happened to get us to this point. Yeah, so Misery's time at Angel Teeth, they became completely fucking unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So moving on. What do you think
Wait,
of
before we
Misery's?
move on from Angel's Teeth, sorry, I just want to say the thing about the stupid banquets and then servings and like dumb,
Yeah.
real dumb. Like, can't we just use, like, if we're going to be a military thing,
Squadron.
yeah, just use, like, I don't know, troop, like, whatever, my brain is blanking, but like servings, banquets,
Yeah.
portions, that's not real, but like, come on.
Yeah, it was yeah,
I
another
was
thing.
waiting for someone to be like, oh, hi, I'm here, I'm a side dish.
That was what was the mechanic's name? The 14-year-old girl. She was the side dish.
Tank?
Tank. Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. I
Yeah.
don't fucking know. I don't super care.
Moving on. What do we think of Misery's relationship with Ruin? Which was what they believed was their delusion, their void madness talking. Also, if you had any comments on the character of Ruin as a whole.
I didn't really understand it at all. It just felt like a tool for when there needed to be bows or some kind of like easy out of an explanation. It felt like
Or you
that was
needed a
all Ruin was good
secret
for.
spy that would
Yeah.
tell you everything that was happening.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
oh, in D&D, my bird,
Yeah.
go look at stuff for me. Like, and then really obnoxious, again, how she's like, they are like, it's just my delusion. I'm just void mad. But
Yeah.
like, how would the delusion know those things?
Yeah. Oh, I must have overheard it at some point, and that's how they know. And even when they go, when Ruin goes on like scouting missions, they're still like, "Oh, I must have seen a map or something."
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
chance they had, they shot down. the fact that,
the actual thing or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
something other than the explanation they were living with. I just wrote that it's a Bose tool. Like th that
yeah.
character, that's all that is.
And I think that uh, their back and forth was, I guess, a highlight,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah,
if you want to call it that. Like
sure.
Ruin's attitude towards them, I
Mhm.
liked. But like even that kind of dissolved eventually, and like the fact that Ruin led them, like Ruin's whole point, because I think they were part of the Archangel mech or something,
Something
maybe. Their whole goal was to get Misery to
to
the
that point.
Archangel mech.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, my job's done. But they still were there and could help, could advise, whatever they'd been doing for her whole life.
But they were like, no, Misery, you just figure you'll know.
I got you to where I was supposed to get you. The rest is up to you. And Misery would be like, oh, I'm going to make all these terrible decisions. And Ruin was like, okay, they're your
Yeah.
decisions to make. That frustrated the hell out of me.
Well, also because like, what's the real point? Like, yes, it was to get Misery to this mech, but then what?
Then
You
what?
can't
Yeah.
tell. Like, that was the end
Use
of
it and use
the
it for like 2 days.
for a
You're
specific
satisfied.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just frustrating. And I think this was kind of a overarching feature with a lot of our characters. And I think Misery even points it out at some point where like everybody has hidden motives, hidden agendas, which, people do in real life too, obviously. The problem is when you have a story filled with them and you want me to understand why people are doing what they're doing, you have to
Can't.
fucking tell me
Yep.
what their fucking agendas are. Like none of it made sense. I don't know why the emperor was trying to make peace with the heretics. We never got into that.
Nope.
Him and his grandmother have a hidden agenda. Okay, what is it?
What
The
is
arch
it?
the archbishop, everything that they're doing, they have a hidden agenda. Okay, what the fuck is it? I don't know. The Duke of Apis or whatever that is the one who
Didn't even
originally
understand what
he collects Misery to bring her to the capital because he is one of the faithful, whatever. And then he's like, I've seen the light and changed my ways. I was one of those people you were talking about, and now I'll be better and whatever. What was his fucking agenda? What was Lightning's agenda? What was really Misery's whole point, other than being like, I'm going to kill the heretics, but for why? And Ruin fits in this too. We're like, and skipping ahead a little bit, the fact that he is telling the story to Jericho at the like they continue going on and maybe they're I don't know fucking helping Jericho now or something. I don't know why. Like why? What was the point of all this? And why did you need Misery to find the mech? Was it so somebody else could use it? Then why didn't you just fucking lead somebody else there? Like
Yeah,
none of
so
it
like if
was
if
explained.
Ruins with Jericho in the beginning and presumably like the interludes are them, um Jericho's a heretic. So like is Ruin a tool of the heretics and was like part of the point of this to get Misery to like be thinking she's doing or they're doing something for the faithful, but then really they're doing something for that benefits the heretics. Like it's so unclear and wild to me that it's going to be more books at some
I don't
point.
know if
Because
it's going to be.
what?
I don't know if it's going to be.
How?
I feel like it's been 4 years. There'd probably be more information out there, but I could be wrong. Uh, yeah, maybe does Jericho comment that Ruin is AI at the end?
Oh, maybe.
Is that maybe what it? I don't know. It doesn't
I
matter.
thought I honestly forgot about the whole AI tech
Yeah.
until the middle of this podcast, and then it like because it's very briefly mentioned, but I do feel like there's probably more to that than.
So if they were a tool of the heretics, then that makes more sense, I guess. But like that is all
But it's
guesswork.
still not clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so even like there's not a single character that comes up that I can hold on to that I
Huh,
was like, oh, start to finish, or
huh.
in general, like I leave this book liking this one. No,
Right. No.
no. So yeah, okay. I was having trouble with my own note. Like, why did I call somebody
Mm.
garbage? Anyway, in the end. Misery is hung out to dry by their co-conspirators when they decide to continue the assault on the heretics. What did you think of the ending of our novel from that revelation to our end, seeing Misery once again in chains?
I thought it was really stupid. It was all just like totally unclear. Like, I don't understand why there was a fake siege. I don't understand the sort of like discovery that the Archbishop's twin was the person on the just like none of it made sense. And then we never got an explanation as to like why her side or their side didn't come through except her serving. Um, like they got betrayed, but that was never really like none of it made sense.
Yeah, so the main point of what's happening on Angel's Teeth is basically the general, especially, and some of the other higher ups are looking to do sedition, do a little bit of treason. So the belief being that if they break this siege, they'll have a victory against the heretics, and that can snowball into greater things, whatever. But when Misery gets there, it's not
It's not
anything
what
that
it
she
seems.
expected.
Yeah.
And then when whoever the Archbishop's sister is the one running the station talks to them and is like, "Hey, no, everything's fine. You're actually the problem." Misery's like, "No, I will murder everybody." Cool. The only thing I can think of was again after making the connection to Joan of Arc and Wikipedia-ing Joan of Arc. It's where you get all the information. She
Mm-hmm.
was captured while trying to break a siege as well. So I assume that's why we had to do this, right? For
Fair.
that correlation. Uh, it was frustrating that like apparently Misery really needed a fucking yearbook to like put names to all the faces she sees in or they see in their dreams because they didn't know they had like been dreaming of the Archbishop's sister for months and didn't know who they were, even though she is all over the news all the time and all this stuff. So Misery calls up like a news feed and it's like, wait, I know them. And then totally disregards
Meanwhile,
the fact that they see her see the woman in her dreams like talking to another person on the screen, never thinks to like who's that person, and of course that's Essie whatever fucking name.
or if it's a siege, when they learn that it's like a double blind situation, how that's even possible,
Mm.
technologically speaking.
Yeah,
Also, they're so caught up in their own Kool-Aid drinking mania that they're like, I will know the signs and blah, blah. Not a single sign was known. All the
yeah,
signs that were in front of them, none of them they got.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's like
They
fitting it into the narrative after the fact.
yeah, totally fair. And then afterwards, they're talking to Lightning as they're escaping to go kill these people. Again, heretics never did anything to them.
Oh.
They're like, I obviously saw it wrong. My visions were showing me that they couldn't be trusted and that this was all bullshit, and I should have like been more prepared for that or whatever. I
Or they
like
organize religion to.
none of it made sense. The fact that nobody else came through, like obviously the Emperor
Yeah.
found out about your little sedition, I guess. Um, yeah, and then the fact that her Captain Diamond drives her ship directly into Essie's ship because she's the one that killed all of her crew way back when, but then Essie is still alive in the end, like
Yeah.
in a back to tank or whatever,
Zapped.
trying to fucking stay alive. Was how, also why. I mean, at this point,
I
I
super didn't care.
didn't care. It all felt rushed, and again, it just felt like Misery was going to do whatever they wanted, no matter
Yeah.
what. So why do we even need to have these conversations?
Well, and there was no wrap up, no satisfying explanation for any of the things that happened during the end or in the entirety of the book.
Yeah, and to cap it all off, we then have the coda part where, again, presumably both these characters, as we're catching up with our desert characters, were there as Ruin was Misery's delusion, and supposedly Jericho's the one
Was
locking
in
the cage.
prison. Yeah.
Um, Ruin plays it off as like, oh, I imagine that this is what happened, and like it's Jericho that's closing the door on her, and like blah blah blah. It's like you're both there. You don't have to imagine. You
It
could just
happened.
fucking tell us what happened.
Yeah.
What became of this person we just spent 400 fucking pages with. That'd be nice.
Well,
So
and
yeah,
why are they the people that are like reminiscing?
I no idea. No fucking idea.
None of it makes sense. I
Uh,
feel more confused now than I did before we started this
I think
podcast.
it's because we're trying to make it make sense, and instead
Mm,
it's like,
not.
yeah, just getting out those shovels.
Yeah.
Um, we kind of just bumped into that, but did you have any thoughts or feelings about our storyteller being ruined, and that they're talking to Jericho at the end as that big reveal?
No, I mean like not really. As soon as we met Jericho in Misery's dream, I assumed that it was the person in the beginning, but I also didn't care
Mm.
that like I didn't get a delivery on what I expected to have some sort of explanation as to why
Yeah,
why it had to be those people.
yeah,
Um, so like it, yeah, just still doesn't make sense. And Ruin being the other person and the like narrator or whatever kind of made sense just because in the beginning with Jericho, how it kept like switching, um, not pattern, but like whatever it was showing itself
yeah,
as was just constantly changing and like feels like a very AI thing to do.
yeah. Yeah, I felt nothing at that point. It felt like a cutesy little
Like,
thing that
thank God
we
I'm
didn't,
done with this book.
yeah, that we didn't need. So yeah, just rough all around. I feel like it like didn't hit on a lot of things that it promised. Like I was looking at what I read before or whatever for a little spoiler for or whatever a pre-read from last episode. An immersive, electrifying space fantasy is full of high-tech space battles, political machinations, starring a queer, diverse array of pilots, princesses, and prophetic heirs. Okay, that last part, yes. Political machinations, sure. Are any of them explained? No. High-tech space battles, not really.
Pacific
Also,
Rim mechs, that's it.
it's yeah, rock mechs that like they have
Sword
eight
fight in space?
they have 8 limbs and sword fight for some reason. And yeah, the
Yeah.
heretics like always come and like bother them, but don't actually destroy
Do
them or do
anything
anything
bad?
to them. But they come every month, like to get their pizza delivery or something. I don't know. It was all just very fucking weird.
Yep.
Um, I feel like I like ran out of gas just being like angry. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on that we maybe missed here?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, again, it's just the yeah. There's nothing to hold on to as this book ends, unfortunately, and the characters really like even that general. Like, what the fuck happened to the general? Why did they suddenly change their tune? And like, oh my God, what about our revelation that we learned that Lightning was the prophet when she was a child? And yeah, I feel close to you because you like you're kind of full circle moment for me because I made up that prophet or whatever prophecy
That
about
was
you.
just more Kool-Aid.
Yeah, cool. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, let's just get the hell out of here. So we are going to move out of spoilers. Moving away from spoilers, we have to finish by giving this book our grade, which should be fun. We do this based on the D&D D20 scale. So 1 is bad, 20 is good, and then we add or subtract a characteristic modifier or skill that from the game Dungeons and Dragons that we think best fits the story. We alternate every episode. So Taja, you are up first. What did you give this book?
Oh, so I've like taken it down a peg as we've been talking as well. So I'm giving it a straight roll of 4. Um, because I mean, all of the myriad of reasons we've already discussed. I don't like any of the characters. I was confused by the world building and the political machinations, and the magic system, if we can even call it that. And like, yeah, stone transformers in space with swords, I guess sounds cool, but it was too much of a too many ideas in a blender does not mean a good book smoothie.
Nice.
Um, and I like you said, I didn't have anything to grab onto, to hold me in. It was such a slog to get
Yeah.
through. And yeah, I mean, I guess on the plus side, I appreciate and applaud um the inclusivity and representation and that being at the forefront, but not at the detriment of the story. And I feel like that was maybe they're not related. Maybe the story would have suffered regardless. I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
Um, but I guess I don't think that they're tied together, but that wasn't enough of a, hey, this is cool to outweigh the, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't like a book that I can't be like, answer somebody when they say, "Hey, what are you reading?" I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give it a -1 for religion, because more proof that organized religions are problematic, and that's a 3.
Wow. Um,
Harsh, I know.
Harsh. I will say, I'm like such a softie on Goodreads because I don't want to like
I
hurt
gave it
anybody.
2 stars on Goodreads.
I originally gave it three, and then like as
Ooh,
I was typing this up, I was like getting angrier because I was like, well, like two and a half. And then I was like getting angrier and angrier, and I was like, okay. And like I went back and knocked it down to 2 stars on Goodreads because I was like, okay, we got to be at least
like
a little bit.
I also like to think of this as like, who would I don't think I could recommend this to a single
I
person.
wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Like it's not a Gork or Model Land,
Yeah.
but it's not that far off.
Yeah. I mean, at least I think it had like good intentions.
Yes, yes, yes.
So there's that. But yeah, no, it was just it felt like when I think of space opera, I think of like adventure, like growth, kind of
Like Farscape.
like like Farscape, like Firefly, but like even like the like Alistair Reynolds,
Yeah.
who's an author we've talked about that we both read. That's what he does is space
Hmm.
operas, and it's like all hope is lost. You got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You have to change who you are to like grow, but in a better way.
And you have
And
to have good quality characters to do that.
yeah, and with this, like it maybe more of a space drama, if you want to call it that. I don't know. But it didn't really even need to be space. Like the only thing you did in space was the fucking serifs. And like, yeah, you travel to other planets, but like the bulk of our story happened on Angel's Teeth, and it was fucking frustrating to be there. So
Hmm.
I'm working myself up again. Anyway, my point is, even though I had already knocked it a bit, I knocked it down more as we were talking. I'm gonna give it a 5 on the
Oh,
dice roll. I know
that's what I initially
how
had.
generous of me.
Yeah.
But I think maybe this is a book for somebody. I don't know. I mean, there are people out there that enjoy it. You can read
Mhm.
the reviews and it's out there. So it is some people's cup of tea. Um, for me, like we said, yeah, the rant about words that I didn't even know were words, notwithstanding, there's just so much in this book that left me confused. And like I touched on before, like it started as a snowball and became an avalanche as the story continued, and I missed the first step. So I didn't know where we were going
Got
with.
left behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so for a skill, I'm giving it a -1 as well for persuasion. And
Mm.
it is because I felt like as people kept drinking more and more Kool-Aid and were persuaded that misery was the Messiah, I was persuaded that they were super
Full
shitty.
of shit.
Yeah. And like every character exponentially went in the trash
Mhm.
as the book continued. Some of them started in the trash. It just kept going. So it was just a very frustrating story to read. As you said, it was a slog. And there were so many times I was like, I'd rather be doing a lot of other things than reading this. So maybe five's too nice, but whatever. If you
Mhm.
feel like you should on it for 2 hours, you should probably
Right.
say something nice at the end. That's a compliment sandwich. Anyway, so that's a four from me, three from Taja, so 3.5. This is like I worry about this when you stick your toe in unknown waters with
Hmm.
different authors
It's
that we
oops,
don't
it's
know.
acid, not water.
Yeah, sometimes it bites you. I mean, to be fair, that's how we discovered Emily St. John Mandel and TJ Klune. And like that's why a big part is like finding those authors you trust and then finding their advanced praise for different things and
Yeah.
yeah, working your way into I mean, Frederick Backman was another one that I just stumbled upon. So
Yeah.
you get lucky and sometimes you don't. And I think there might be a few of these on the horizon that could go one of two ways, but we'll see what happens there as kind of 113 episodes in. We're trying to bring you diverse uh, books
We
and
do have a pretty
topics and stuff.
solid track record,
Yeah, I
though.
think we're doing all right. But yeah, this
Yeah.
is going to hurt the year-end stats for sure. So that is 3.5 overall. I think I already said that, but woohoo! And on that note, we are going to move away from the book, but we're not yet done with our podcast. So let's talk about sunnier, greener pastures, and that would be our segment section. So, Taja, current selection. What else have you been reading or listening to? Looks like it's Turkish
Literally
dramas.
nothing. Yep. So I still have I think it's book 5 of the Murder Butt that I started a long time ago, and then I've just been like knee deep in Turkish dizzies and haven't read any more. And have only been listening to this latest book. So I'll probably find something else to listen to on my drives, but um yeah, I don't know. Nothing.
For me, I'm into my chonky stage as I
Mm,
finished The Raven Scholar, which was like over 700 pages.
nice.
Definitely delivered. That is a trilogy that I'm excited to see where it goes.
Is everything out?
No, unfortunately. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, yeah. That was
Is
like,
that is it just the first one that's out?
yeah, it's just the first one. So the second one does have a title, and I think
Hey,
its release date is 2027.
okay.
Maybe. So it's happening. But
Yeah.
that seemed like the book of last year. Like I saw that a lot on the
That's
internet,
cool.
and for good reason there, because
I
that
know
was
that.
a
Yeah.
fantasy and a world building that really delivered. So I enjoyed that. And now, if that wasn't big enough, I have decided to pick up a book that Angie recommended to us, which was Reamdy, which we had talked about before, by Neil Stevenson. It is
Mm.
over 1,000 pages long, which is why it's not going to be a podcast book. The opening salvo, it's not called like the prologue or anything like that, but it's kind of like after that is a chapter that's like day zero. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is where we're getting into it. That first like 50 something pages is just character building for one of our
Wow.
characters. So yeah, it's very detailed and
Like Tolkien detail?
no, I mean it's not fantasy, so it's
Okay.
based on what I've gotten so far is it follows this guy, or it starts out with this guy who's like in his mid 50s and he's going to a family reunion. So he's kind of like catching up with the different family that he's kind of
Mm.
lost touch with. Or, I mean, he sees them every year, but like
Yeah.
he lives a very different life. And he got into MMORPGs, multiplayer online gaming, and decided to create his own. And so like it's about his game, and then we learn more about that, and now we've come across Reamd is like a misspelled intentionally, I guess, but it's a virus. So that is being like they're using the game to
To
pay the ransom to get your information back that the virus has fucked up.
whoa.
And so like that's I'm like just touching that part now. But like it's supposedly like a really incredible like technological thriller. And obviously there's people outside like that are very upset that their information is getting corrupted and stolen and everything, and we're learning that firsthand. So yeah, it's definitely intriguing. I just haven't, I mean, the time I put aside, I'm like 140 pages in. So I'm like 10% done with the book
Yeah.
just because it's so big.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I should have more on that next time, but this might be one of those cases where I have to like shelve it to go read the podcast book and come
Yeah.
back. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, because they're so big, that's all I'm doing. My book pace for the year is like, you're trying. I'm like, thanks. Not my fault I'm reading 3 books in one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to random recommendation. This is one that I got from my dad a long time ago when I first was trying to go for 100 books in a year and I was
Ooh.
begging for books from anywhere. The book is Relic by Douglas Preston and Lee Child. If
Sure.
Lee Child sounds familiar to you, that's the guy who wrote Jack Reacher. But they've written books together. And this is from the 90s, like mid 90s, and it's about a museum exhibit that recently returns from the jungle and people start dying mysteriously in the museum. So like a big time FBI uh whatever detective, whatever they're called. Good job, agent. Good job, Russ. Comes in to like investigate because he's quirky and different and all this other stuff, and he's trying to
Okay.
figure out whether it is like an actual like haunted artifact that is releasing some mythical creature, or if it's just people being people and killing people. So, uh,
Interesting.
I will say it held up for the most part. The crazy thing is it's mid 90s. So when they talk about emails
Oh
or their
yeah.
computers and like how big they are and the software that they're using and
Ah,
everything like that, it's like when we read one of the Harlan Coben's, he was like, my
yeah, that's what I was
Rolodex.
just gonna
It's like,
say.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So
that's funny.
well, some of that is a bit hilarious and humiliating for those of us that remember those times. I'd say outside of that, the book does hold up. So if you're looking for something different, I think it's also part of a series following that lead detective. I forget his name, but it's like a guy they kept going back to. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, again, it was Relic by Douglas Preston and Lee Childs. You can find that anywhere you find books, I'm sure.
Anywhere.
Anyway, so on that note, we have one last thing to get to, and it is the return of the surprise book. So I did send Taja a package with a few different options, and instead of like last time I wrote kind of why I picked up the authors, this is more your idea of like date with a book. So I thought it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to kind of give you literally just reading snippets off the back, a couple words here and there, and seeing which ones you would go for. So this is another book that I know nothing about, and I'm nervous after the last one. But
And for
Tasha, what are we reading on the next
the
podcast?
listeners, it's written as post-apocalyptic, indigenous, and personal journey. Let's see what it is. Ooh, Trail of Lightning, The Sixth World by Rebecca Roanhorse. The cover is really cool.
Yeah. So I found these right next to each other, so that worked out well. It is book one. We'll see, if it bears continuing. But the little blurb I'm stealing from the back, from its raw opening to its brutal conclusion, Trail of Lightning crafts a powerful and fiercely personal journey through a compelling post-apocalyptic landscape. And apparently, the world has drowned in a climate apocalypse.
Waterworld?
Waterworld, yes. But it follows a person who was formerly of the Navajo Nation. So
Those are
uh,
margins I can get behind.
I didn't even actually look at it. Yeah. Yeah, nice. And I think it's got some magic. Maybe I'm making that part
Yeah,
up.
no, I mean it does say Hugo and Nebula Award. Isn't that like a sci-fi?
Yeah, so it says they're a supernaturally gifted killer and
Yeah.
monster hunter. So
Freaking cool. Also, her weapons look badass.
yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get into that, and hopefully it was better than this last one.
It looks
So again, for next time, it is Trail of Lightning, the Sixth World, Book One by Rebecca Roanhorse. So we will get into that, which means we are done with this. So sorry for this super negative podcast, but every once in a while we run into a
it
clunker
happens.
that maybe spoke to other people but did not speak to us. So that's that, and we thank you for hanging in there. And on that note, this has been the 113th episode of the ABC Pod, the Adult Book Club with Taja and Russell.
Keep reading.